Hello and welcome to another KitPlus TV show sponsored by Mediaproxy. Now, we're all quite familiar with this new way of learning online. We've been doing it here at KitPlus, and a good number of manufacturers are creating webinars and online content to inform and educate us.
Yes, and one we spotted recently is Whiteboard Wednesdays with nxtedition, and it's gaining some traction. So here to tell us more about it, we can welcome back Adam Lear from nxtedition. Hi Adam. So how's life in front of the camera instead of behind the camera?
It's very new to me, to be quite honest. I've spent most of my career sitting behind a graphics machine, or an edit suite. So yeah, this is all very new to me. But yeah, we called it Whiteboard Wednesdays, and the plan really fundamentally was that it sort of got spawned from an interview we had with Sasha from Nxtologies, where he was speaking about how education really needs to be the way forwards. And coming out the end of last year, we could see that the conversation was changing in the marketplace, and you could see people talking about the technologies that not just we're using, everyone's using. And there seemed to be a bit of misunderstanding in what I was seeing and what I was hearing from those people. So our plan was really to sort of try to educate people, not to patronize people, but complex things need to be absorbed and they need to be explained in simple ways. So it's a bit about how we do that, yeah.
So Adam, what makes your Whiteboard Wednesdays different to all the other webinars that we see online these days?
What makes them different? A couple of reasons. One of the things we didn't want to do was like a whole bunch of talking heads and interviews and things. The other thing that we tried to do is that we actually do it live. We eat our own dog food, so to speak. So we run it all through Next anyway. But we're actually really live, and we do it live on LinkedIn and YouTube every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we don't collect data from anyone or ask people to sign up and give us their email addresses. We just do it live, and people can ask us questions there and then.
And so I guess it's on YouTube. All the old sessions are still there. If we've missed some of the back sessions, if you want to join in, we talk.
Yeah, I mean, if I just come to here, so on our YouTube channel. There's actually a playlist area down here. Actually, let me get a pen for a second here. So in our YouTube channel, we've actually got a section that's devoted to Whiteboard Wednesdays. And at the same time, we're always live on LinkedIn on every Wednesday at 12 and at 1 CET and GMT, of course.
So give us a flavour of the topics you've covered so far.
Flavour of the topics. The most popular one by far that we have done so far is this one, which was a broadcast 101. And this came about very bizarrely because one of our developers who was going to be with me, helping me, he got COVID. So we had to come up with an idea really quick about how we could fill the Whiteboard Wednesday. And the answer was actually that I always do this kind of onboarding thing with our new developers where I teach them where we've come from in broadcast. So I kind of like show them, how things used to be in the 90s, and then we upgrade that through the 2000s. And it's just an explanation of how television has evolved over the years. So, and it's part of my philosophy, actually. And part of what we're trying to do here is a lot of people are looking to the past in the broadcast industry quite a lot. And we're currently in the present. Yeah. And what we see a lot of at the moment is this. So in the present, we're always looking to the past. And then we're coming back in this infinite loop where we're forever in broadcast, looking to the past and always migrating back to it. So think of it like a gravitational field of a giant planet. We always end up getting sucked into the past. And it's very hard to move forwards to the future. So what people do things like, you might take your NRCS system, right? Or you might take your mmmm system, something like that. And sure, that's moving you towards the future a little, but in the end, you end up having to talk to all this legacy equipment, blah, 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 and again, we get stuck in this infinite loop.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do with the Whiteboards Wednesdays is to do something very, very simple, which is to build a bridge from here in the past through the present and into the future. To try and help people understand that process. That's what we're really trying to achieve with the Whiteboard Wednesdays. And I hope that's a good example of how we try to explain it in a simple manner.
No, fantastic. And but I mean, does this mean difficult one, this one? You're not trying to predict the future, but you are helping people, sort of build a platform whereby they're not fixed in the past. They're not stuck in the past. They are looking at the future. Is that fair?
I think it's a little like when we contribute to open source projects, for instance, in the development community. This is a bit similar, you know, or everyone who's building technology like this is struggling to get people to understand, you know, that they can't hold on to the past for this, you know, you can't hold on to these things that have predicated your career for so long. Things are changing, and it doesn't have to be frightening. The skills that people have are very transferable. We're just trying to change some of that technology that they're using to a more 21st century kind of way to do it. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to try to show people how they can, you know, transition and understand what's actually happening in the entire marketplace for everyone and all the other vendors as well.
So for what you've learned so far from doing these, Adam, is the, not necessarily a barrier, but is the, let's call it a barrier, is the barrier from moving to the future, is it purely education and skills, or is it a degree of having to invest in all this new technology as well? So there's a budget issue there as well.
I think the budget issue is a very real one. So if someone's in the middle of a 5-year contract, they're going to be in the middle of a 5-year contract. Nothing can be done about that. I understand that totally. I'm a big fan of Gordon Castle at Eurosport. He always says it's IT, not IP. That we're so obsessed with the IP part of it that we can't see the IT end of it. And it's that IT end of it that's very interesting. You know, do you take, for instance, a standard broadcast engineer and teach them to be an IT engineer, or do you do it the other way around? How does that work? But that's where we're heading. You know, the green wire turning into an Ethernet cable, there's so much more we can do with the Ethernet cable.
That's a good point, actually. If I'm let's say I'm a broadcast engineer and I want to know what I'm most likely going to need to learn for the future, or likewise, if I'm an IT engineer and I want to get into broadcast, can they approach you and suggest like topics? You know, what can we do? What do you
Absolutely.
need to learn?
I actively ask everyone to please join in, because, you know, I've got a development team sitting underneath me here who are amazing. And we've got some broadcast guys on our team who are also equally amazing. And we see the whole picture because of what we're doing with microservices and taking a microservices approach to physical kit. So we can see that. And if people have questions about that, then please feel free to get in touch, and we can build a Whiteboard Wednesday just around a single question. And I can pull in experts as and when I need, not just internally, but also from external relationships that I have with people.
I'm quite interested when you were saying that you do your talk with new developers. I mean, when you're chatting to them, what do you think was the defining point in the timeline of our industry when the broadcast industry became the IT industry?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's hard to answer. When you go to 2110, I guess that was the cusp. That once we start talking about 2110 and taking a data approach, rather than this sort of, you know, green wire and BNC connector approach, was the start of it. There's been issues with that along the way, and of course it's IT. There's always issues with IT, but things have grown out of that, and you know, you only have to look at like what you guys are doing, for instance, with vMix, which is amazing. And we were talking before about, you know, 5 years ago, could we possibly imagine that we'd be in this situation? Well, we were knocking on the door of that 5 years ago, but now we have crazy things going on certainly with microservices and containers, and, you know, like we virtualized the Casper CG, and that's been amazing, running channels in the cloud off of that. And how do you engineer that? And then the other problem that you have, or issue or challenge, should we say, is cloud engineering. You know, when we're going to go all into the cloud like this, we're rushing in there, and okay, how do we engineer that, and who's going to engineer that, and what is that job, and what is that role? Something we're going to look at, along with actually something that we've got lined up coming up is blockchain as well, because there's some really interesting things happening in blockchain that will blow your mind when I get to them.
Yeah, I still struggle with that a little bit, but I just want to refer back to the previous one. I still don't know, why is it Whiteboard Wednesdays? Is that a sort of a known phrase now, or is it something you can?
No, because I had to find a day of the week that rhymed with whiteboard, and Wednesday was it.
Okay.
It was that simple. Sorry, mate.
Thanks, Adam. It's always good to catch up, and we'd urge people to check out the Next Edition YouTube playlist where you can find everything.
It's on the YouTube channel. Just search for Next Edition on YouTube, and here it is.
There it is. And of course, while you're there, look at the KitPlus YouTube channel as well, of course.
Of course.
Also, congratulations, Adam. He's an RTS award nominee, so it'll be quite interesting to see those nominations and awards in the near future. And also, we did an interview with Adam on the Casper CG as well, so look at that on our YouTube channel. Thanks to Mediaproxy for their support of KitPlus, and thank you for watching. Don't forget, you can always listen to all the KitPlus interviews on our podcast. Just search KitPlus in your podcast directory or go to kitplus.com/podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.